What's up, Bobcat Nation? Welcome to the Region 20 Bobcast. Today we have our very first spotlight on a school with a very bright spotlight on Plumb Hill Middle School. Spoiler alert, I have a Plumb Hill Middle Schooler myself, so I'm very acquainted with what's going on here and could not be more proud to have a Plumb Hill Middle Schooler. We're talking to the Plumb Hill Middle School Principal Pam Vecca. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So just a little bit of background on Pam. I'm going to read her bio. Pam is the proud principal of Plumb Hill Middle School, where she's leading the charge in uniting 4 school communities built on strong relationships, mutual respect, and student-centered learning. She began her career as a high school English teacher before moving into leadership roles as a curriculum coordinator and assistant principal. Pam earned her bachelor's degree from Central Connecticut State University, her master's from Southern Connecticut State University, and her 6th-year certificate in educational leadership from the University of Bridgeport. Known for her collaborative approach and commitment to empowering both students and staff, she brings passion, integrity, and a deep belief in the power of a positive school climate to everything she does. Outside of school, Pam lives nearby in Woodbury with her family and enjoys hiking, exploring Litchfield Hills, and tracking down the best local ice cream shops. Me too. She is honored to help shape the future of PHMS and is committed to creating a school community where every student has the opportunity to thrive and succeed. Welcome, Miss Vecca, to the Bobcast.
Thank you, Krista.
Middle school. Now I know you from high school days when you were the vice principal at Wamogo, and I had a Wamogo kid there. Middle school is a different animal, yes, right? Like the kids are different. The maturity level is different. Their identity is beginning to form in Absolutely. Middle school. They're kind of, feeling all the feels in middle school that, does, roll over into high school. But I think, middle school is the place where their confidence really gets built, their interests start to shape. And I think a lot of that has to do with the programs that we offer, the education that we offer, the extracurriculars, the sports, the things that we have to do here. So let's highlight where students have access to unique and engaging programming and, the stuff that goes beyond traditional academics. Like, I know that we're doing a lot of really great things here. So let's talk about what makes Plumb Hill a standout in terms of programs and culture.
Yeah. So, I think you captured it perfectly in terms of what the middle school years mean to our students. First of all, I love that it's a 6-8 middle school.
Yes.
So I think we get students at a great time in 6th grade.
Yep.
And there is still a lot of forming and developing. And when they leave us in 8th grade, we get to see huge growth and huge progress. And I think that just goes to show the importance of the work that's done here.
Yeah.
Between, when they come here and when they leave. So when students are here at Plumb Hill, there's a few pieces during the day that are pretty special for them.
Right.
So besides all of our encore classes, which is a big offering here, in traditional middle schools, you get a schedule handed to you. You kind of follow periods 1 through 4, 1 through 6, and that's just what they offer.
Yeah.
Here, our students get to choose. So we try to form paths, a computer science path, an agri-science path, more of the fine arts path. And that really gives students an opportunity to figure out what they're interested in.
Yep.
When you come in 6th grade, you might not know at all what you're interested in. Or you might think that you have an interest in one area and really it's something completely different. So we use a lot of student choice, a lot of student voice. We hear from them what they want to see here. The same goes for our athletic programming here.
Yep.
So, we try to offer as many different opportunities for students to stay engaged outside of school. We know that's a big piece of their development is what happens outside of these doors.
Yep.
And that's huge for them.
Yeah.
So, some things that the students have brought to Plumb Hill, when we talked with them last year and we did all of our meetings at the elementary schools, there were a lot of students that were engaged and excited about bringing a volleyball program to the middle school. And we hadn't had one.
Right.
And it wasn't in any of our plans.
Sure.
And we said, let's see if we can make it happen. We had a huge turnout. It offered, a really great extracurricular for the students to join after school. And it was a success. And the students, came and said that, they were heard. And what their ideas showed it had a huge impact on the environment here. So that was great. Our advisory program in the middle of the day offers about 18 to 20 different clubs for students to explore, find what they like, what they don't like. And it's in the middle of the day. So it gives them a chance to get some exercise, get some energy out, which we know is so important for middle school. And it also removes barriers of after-school transportation or scheduling conflicts. So I think that's a very important part of our day. And the students really thrive during that time and love that opportunity.
So one thing that you had mentioned was allowing the students to make their choices and be part of this. And when this is the first year of Plumb Hill, right? Like we have just come together as a merge. We all know, right? And we had this opportunity in front of us. And you had this opportunity in front of you. You're now the principal of a middle school. When you found out that you were going to be principal here, what was your strategy? What was your thought process behind building the kind of team that you wanted to have in place, the culture that you wanted for the students and the staff? Because I have to say, I am a parent of a child who goes here, but even in the community, people are talking about how happy the staff is, how happy the kids are, how everybody works well together, for the most part. I'm sure there's stuff that, goes on behind the scenes, but it just feels like we got it right. And what was your thought process in making that happen? And why do you think it is the way it is?
So from day one, this is, I think back to November of 2023. I started with a transition plan and I said, you know what, we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to have a lot of PD days this year with staff. I'll have our plans for the middle school. And we really mapped out a 3-year plan. So the 23-24 school year, it was a time to listen to the staff, the students. We did a family forum that spring. It was a lot of listening, a lot of learning, a lot of figuring out what's important to our community, what's important to all of our stakeholders. So that whole year, we just used every minute available to really focus on the future and what was going to come. PD days were team building. So there was a lot of fun, right? We had staff team building. We had a lot of fun things here at the school. So all of our staff, no matter what buildings they were coming from, they came here. We went out and did a wood shop building night. You know, we did things to bring staff together during the summer. Besides that, we also did a 2nd-year plan and a 3rd-year plan. So we mapped out, this is going back to November of 2023. 3-year plan, every month, every meeting. What did we need to dive into? What things did we need to, change, adjust, that kind of thing. So I think that transition plan, when I think back of what worked well and what led to this, that was a huge piece of it. Is, getting our vision down and sticking to it. And as you go, you make adjustments. But that was definitely a big piece of how we got here today.
Talk to me about your staff. How great are they?
They're amazing. And, there was very little input in terms of, we didn't go around and cherry pick and say, this is who, it was, Pam, you're the principal of Plumb Hill Middle School. And Ben, Mr. Storrs, is the vice principal, who I didn't really know much before coming here. He's amazing. I think we make a great team. And here are the staff. And we got our list. And I said, okay, one of those first PD days, here is what we need. We need to get everyone together here in this building. And these are your new colleagues. And I think setting that stage from day one, and giving the teachers the opportunity to tell me what they think and what they wanted to see. And for both regions, both districts before coming here, they were in a 7 through 12 or 6 through 12. School, right? So this was a chance to form your ideal middle school. Stand alone. This is a true middle school. And we're going to make it feel like it. And that was something that I heard all year. Is this feels like a true middle school, and it feels like it for staff. It feels like it for kids. So it's great.
It is great, and it just always feels so good when I walk in here. Right? Everyone is just. It just seems like it just flows really well. Okay, so let's talk about programming. Right? As you know, at the high school, like we're feeding into our high school, we have a very successful and very popular agri-science program. And my understanding is we are building an intro to ag kind of program here in order to create more of a feeder program into that program. Tell me about the idea behind that and why we think it's so important.
Yeah. So, if I think back again to that fall of 2023, and we were able to, we had a clean plate in front of us.
Yeah.
It was, you can start fresh. You're building it from the ground up.
Yep.
What kind of school do you want to see? What do you envision? What kind of programming do you want? And I started thinking about how much I loved the agri-science program, at the Wamogo Agri-Science program. And, what it offered to our students there,
Sure.
I knew that was a huge piece of the environment, the culture, the climate, even with staff. So I came up with a proposal to make an agri-science program and extension here.
Yep.
I did a lot of research. We looked at other middle school agri-science programs. The closest one I could find was in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
To have a full middle school program. So there are none in Connecticut.
Okay.
We met with the state representatives in Connecticut for agri-science. We tried to gather as much information as we could and really develop what can we put in a middle school that leads into the high school program.
Sure.
We knew it was an important piece of this community here.
Yeah.
And for some students that don't have experience with it, this is their first chance to dive in.
Yep.
And then for others, that this is their life, they're born into it, and they know they can probably run some of our classes.
I'm sure they could.
Middle school,
yes.
They become leaders and they shine in that area. So it really works on both ends.
Yeah.
To get a little bit of it. So,
yeah.
So we put a plan in place, a proposal, outlined what we wanted to see, acquired a staff member.
Yeah.
And so Melissa Brooding is our agri-science teacher. She hit the ground running. She spent every minute of her summer here
Yeah.
In 2024 getting this program ready.
Yeah.
So, she is just completely dedicated, and we couldn't have done it without her. The high school agri-science staff helped us.
Yep.
They were huge in getting this going.
Yeah.
We also have 2 staff members that come down and help out with our supplemental program. So we're learning from their experience as well, and
right.
Everything that they know. Charlie Rowland was huge. He was definitely instrumental in getting this. And we immediately reached out for community volunteers, help, anyone that wanted to donate. And within the first month, we had Ace Hardware in Litchfield donate a ton to form this program.
That's so great.
So, the community came together and they really said, this is something important. How can we make it happen?
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
I love it. I love the community involvement. I love that we are exposing kids to things that, as you said, they might not have had the chance to be exposed to.
Yeah.
And I think that it gives them an opportunity to maybe make a different path for themselves that they didn't know that they would be interested in ongoing into high school.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe more of our kids from this area are going to want to dabble their fingers into the FFA or the ag science program. So I think it's just so smart that we're all working together to continue on this education path for them. So I think that's great. So middle schoolers are, as you said, full of energy. They're awfully curious. How do the programs that we have in place impact them, and help channel that energy in a meaningful way, right? I know we have a lot of different programs going on in here. So talk about their academics and that kind of stuff.
So, one of the big pieces of, I would say, professional development work leading up to the opening of Plumb Hill with our staff is figuring out our vision of a middle school learner. And there was a lot of work put into what do we want to see our students thrive to be and come out to be. And what does a middle school learner look like? And how are they developing? And what do we need to do to meet them where they're at? And the biggest approach that we took was a whole child approach where it's not just academics, it's everything. And it affects, what we do here in terms of, assignments and homework and after school, and just knowing that there are other needs that need to be met.
Sure.
So we know that students are busy. They have a lot on their plate. And especially in middle school, they have a lot of emotions, a lot of big emotions, and they're learning a lot of executive functioning skills.
Yeah.
So looking at everything that's going on in their life and making every decision with that in mind, I think really helped bring the positive environment to the students here, where we can meet them, where they're at and what they need.
Yeah. I love it. On that, do you get student feedback? Like, are they chirpy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we hear from the students. They love to talk.
Oh, yes.
And, we have a great student leadership team here
Okay.
that was established this year. And I think that has started to give some, opportunities for students to, stand out and hear from the students themselves.
Yeah.
And teachers are always getting, input from students on what they want to see. Any special days this year are student-led, student-run, their ideas. And I think that a lot of what the students say is that it feels happy in the building. And, I think that's part of one of the best, feelings as an educator for us. I talk to the teachers and what the students are saying to them, and they enjoy coming to school and they enjoy being here.
Yes.
So there's not a negative feel vibe, like none of that really gets to the student level at all.
Yeah.
And I think that, during times of a school merger, this is huge.
Yeah.
And, it can't go unnoticed that this is a big deal for these towns.
Yeah.
And, I talked to many other school districts and administrators throughout Connecticut, and many feel that it's near impossible to do what these towns have done.
Yeah.
And so, truly, what we've done is something special. And I want people to remember that, amidst the chaos, that we still have something really great going on.
Yeah.
And our students, rose above, and they're here every day and they're enjoying school. And I think that's, the best thing that we can hope for.
100%. I mean, my little one missed one day of school this year, and it's only in the last 2 weeks. Like, he loves to go to school.
Yeah.
And my kids have always loved school, but like, he really enjoys, and like you said, people were a little, we don't know what's going to happen. The four towns are going to come together. There's talk on the outside, and we were all very positive on the inside. But watching these kids come together and like get to play with each other, they're already on each other's teams outside of school, on soccer teams, on basketball teams, on whatever teams that they're on, or swim teams or whatever.
Yeah.
And to see them when they knew the merger was happening. I mean, I remember like being on a soccer field and the little guys were like, I can't wait till next year. We're all going to be in the same class.
Yeah.
And it feels like it was seamless for them, the students specifically, right? Might have been a little bit harder for maybe some staff members to get acclimated to where they needed to go. But I really feel like the feedback that I've gotten from parents, especially in here, it's all just been very positive and very seamless. And I think that that's a testament to everything that's going on in here. So thank you for that. And I'm like, we were just saying before we started this, that I can't believe the first year is almost over.
Yes.
It's insane.
I know.
It's insane.
It really is. And so, just to your point, where this is the first point of, of really where the four towns merge.
Yeah.
So it could have gone, many different ways.
Yeah.
We didn't know. And having all four towns come together in middle school in sixth grade here this year was a big thing. And we're just so happy that the students are able to find their way here.
Yeah.
And, for many students, this is an opportunity to meet new friends.
Yeah.
Meet new groups.
Yeah.
And you kind of figure out, your way. And, we're glad that it seamlessly, they came together.
Yeah.
It really is a testament to the community. These students are coming from really, really great communities, and it shows.
Yeah.
They're kind, they're caring, they want to be here. And, that's just a huge, point of pride, I think,
right,
for this area.
For sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of points of pride, we have a lot to be proud of at this school this year. I mean, it's amazing to me how we had a conversation. We've been recording these and putting them in the back burner. So we're going to download a lot for the community to have very shortly. But just talking about the inaugural year of Region 20, on the whole, we have a lot to celebrate with our students. But we have a lot to celebrate in each school. And you guys are a cut above, right? Like this school has so much to celebrate. So talk to me about the things that we're celebrating this year as we come to a close on the first year. It's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of new initiatives that were put in place that I think, overall we are gathering feedback on. And for the most part, what we've seen have gone very well.
Yep.
So coming into the school year in terms of academics, that is at the forefront of everything we do. So there were a few, practices that we wanted to put in place that we deemed as best practice for middle school. So one of them is we did family curriculum guides to make sure all the families knew what was going on and in, student friendly, parent friendly, language, so they can understand like what exactly are we doing in a brief snapshot.
Sure.
We also implemented a dual grading system, which is a pretty big initiative.
Yeah.
For many that may have heard of it, they might not realize that it's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
And many schools just stick to traditional grading because it is a big shift.
Yeah.
So what we've done for every grade level in 6 through 8 is we shifted to traditional and standards-based grading.
Okay.
So for students and families and our staff here, this was a way for them to look at everything we do here academically in a different lens and a different perspective. And, it doesn't always just focus on the letter grade or the number grade. It's also standards. Everything we do is for our state standards.
Sure.
And how well are you making progress towards those standards specifically?
Right.
And so I think when students get feedback in terms of the standards, it shows them where they need to make growth on.
Yep.
And it's more, really concrete and specific, and it's actionable.
Yeah.
So that has come a long way. I think that's a huge accomplishment, even for our staff. So we're going through a big change, and we're also implementing, many different things at the same time.
Right.
And they, took it head on, and they've embraced it, which is not something you see everywhere.
Right.
I really want, people to know that I've worked with many different staffs, and this one, really embraced everything we did. And so I think that also just speaks to what led to a positive culture here.
Right.
A couple other things we did is the student celebrations program. So we shifted. We went away from a traditional honor roll.
Okay.
And, for some, that is a tradition, and it's a big shift, right? Why we went that way is we have, right now, 352 students at Plumb Hill Middle School. And anytime somebody asks me about the school or the students, I say we have 352 amazing students.
Yes.
And I truly mean it.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to people, I feel like they really feel that I'm being sincere and heartfelt when I say that all, each and every one of them contributes meaningfully here. And they all are amazing. Yeah. So why do we do student celebrations? Well, we need the students to know that. We need them to know that we need all 352 of you in order to make up Plumb Hill. And they do make it. They make our school climate and our culture here. And we need them to know where they shine. How boring would it be if all we had was one school of one area of shining? So do you shine in art or ag sci or social studies, or are you, into computer science and math? And where do you shine? Right. And none of them are above the other. Yeah. They're all equal. Wherever, you do your best, that's where we need you. Because, when you move on and go to high school and beyond, this is a small community within a larger community. Yes. And we all know in a larger community, we need everybody. No matter where their strengths are. And that makes them special and important. So I think at the middle school, we can still honor your academics and doing very well in academics. But at the same time, honoring where you are outside of it. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So we're going to get to the Be Kind theme at Plumb Hill in another little segment that we're going to do because we have something to show you guys. Let's talk about, this will be like our last question, and then we'll do this. How do we have staff and community support the programs that we need? And how do we see them growing in the future, right? We know that we're going through some growing pains.
Yes.
And it's been hard. With all the wonderful things going on, there's been some hard stuff this year, right? Yeah. We've had to eliminate some things, and we've had to really pay attention to, what we're offering the kids and all that stuff. And, I think it goes in a lot of different directions. And when we reach out to our community, and when we lean on our community, and we lean on our parents, what is the feedback that you're getting from them in regards to support? And then what is the big vision for you? Like, once we're through all of this stuff, right? What is the vision for Plumb Hill Middle School?
Yeah. So, I think I'll take that in two parts.
Yeah.
But in terms of support, from day one, we needed support. and we advocated for it.
Yep.
And I think everyone stepped up as much as they could,
right.
and they still step up to this day.
Yeah.
So our students, our staff, our parents, and our larger community,
yep.
They want high quality programming, and they want a learning environment that shines, that stands out. I mean, who wouldn't?
Right.
Your
of course.
students, right? You want a school that you can be proud of. And I think that's what we want here.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you know, I feel like my leadership style is very shared.
Yeah.
And, you know, I build up leaders because I think that's what, you know, we want our students to be built up, and our staff. And, you know, I was always, you know, taught to lead with passion, and I like to have shared decision making. So when it comes to, you know, what we want to see here and what support we need, I really do lean on every stakeholder.
Right.
So our teachers know it, that they step up. They're so important in decision making and what we can offer and what we can't, and how we can, you know, make do with less.
Yeah.
And how we can get creative.
Right.
And our community also, they know it.
Right.
And to this day, we have an overwhelming amount of support. And what can we do? And we will show up, and we will help. And that goes a long way. So we feel it. Teachers feel it.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that it's a big piece of you know, the building trust, where everyone here is, you know, is trusting of each other and supportive of each other, and knows that, you know, someone else has got your back, and knows that you put a lot of work into this.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, we want everyone to know that our teachers, you know, everything is, you know, you're doing great, everything's so happy. Well, they put in a lot of work.
Yes.
You know, and so I just want the community to also know that, you know, when you see a PHMS teacher, just acknowledge that.
Say thank you.
They say thank you, and know that, wow, you've done a lot of amazing work, and it didn't just happen overnight. It took a lot of effort and dedication.
Yep.
And they're committed to middle school students.
Yeah.
And I can tell anybody in Connecticut, if you want to send your child to a middle school, this is
come here,
where you know that the teachers here will care for them.
Yeah.
Will know that we're going to meet you, and we're going to make you, you know, enjoy coming to this environment. Right. So that's really, you know, huge on their end.
For sure.
And we continue to explore ways on how to get extra support and involvement.
Yep.
You know, we're building up our PTO program.
Yes.
They've been so great.
Yep.
You know, we started fresh this year. We started with a clean slate with PTO. We didn't have any funds to start, and we, you know, built it. We built it up. And so anytime we need something, we know we can lean on them. Yeah. Agri-science, we wouldn't be able to do it without parent volunteers coming to help with the animals, coming to help with the programming. Right. And community businesses support us, and they're always helping. Yes. They helped with our summer kickoff. That just popped right into. I was like, the summer celebration was so great. That entire celebration, all was possible by donations, and donating time, donating the equipment, everything from local businesses. Yeah. So we've seen that a lot. We've seen, you know, local vets help out with our animals here. You know, we've just seen a lot of what it means to be community. Yep. And so I say that word a lot because I love it. It's important. It's a great word. It really is that, you know, that's how I feel when I'm here. And that's what I want our students to remember when they leave here, that they felt a sense of community. Yep. And I think in the long run, that's, you know, a big piece of what matters. It really is. Yeah. Shout out to our outside community at large for helping to create such a great space here. Yes. But really just a sense of community. Yeah. Right? Like, thank you for donating your time and your resources and your services to us. Right. And we really do have exceptional staff and exceptional teachers and exceptional students. Yeah. So one last formal question, and then I've got a fun question for you, and then we're going to go take a little walk. Okay. So as you look ahead, what are you most excited about for the future of Plumb Hill? Mm-hmm. And how do you hope to leave your mark in this inaugural chapter? So I am most excited about seeing our students, you know, grow with us and evolve, and seeing our systems here strengthen and continue to improve. Because I, you know, am a big believer in each year, what can we do better? Yeah. And, you know, that's a big piece of seeing how our students grow, and how they, you know, make progress while they're here, and how they're thriving while our systems are working in place for them. Right. So, you know, having a, you know, functional system where all the pieces are working, and getting better and growing. It starts off where you're like, okay, here's where you want to see us. And then pretty soon it's going to be, well, what else can we do?
Yeah.
And how else can we, bring a better space for our students? Or how else can we ensure that this space is, what they want and it's meeting their needs as well.
Yeah.
So, that's something that we're definitely looking forward to.
Good.
Always work ahead.
Yes.
So it never stops.
Yeah.
And, each year we get a different group of middle schoolers.
Yep.
And, students are always at the heart of what we do. So they will tell us what we need as well. And we'll listen and we adjust as we go.
I love it.
So, And so for, leaving this foundational year, I'm just so, proud to have been here and happy to have been given this opportunity. And I'll look back and, just think about how mergers can happen.
Yes.
And, what goes well, what doesn't. And I think that we can be a leading, model, honestly, for how mergers can be done successfully. And it could happen for the students and it can work very well.
Yeah.
And, there are many districts that can benefit from this and that are looking towards this.
Yeah,
and I've had
for
some reach out that have very low enrollment and they'd love to, see it. Not a quick process.
No.
And, this has been years in the making for sure. But I think that there is a way that it can be done. And we just have to believe in it and believe in ourselves.
I love it.
So
I love it. Okay. Fun question before we let you go.
Okay.
I asked this of all of my guests because I figured we're at school. Everybody wants to know what's for lunch, Pam Vecca.
Oh,
what's your favorite from when you were a student?
Okay.
What was your favorite lunch from anywhere between elementary and high school? It doesn't matter. What was your favorite?
Okay. Well, you got me at food because I love food.
Me too.
So yes. Back in school. Well, let's see. No judgment here.
No.
Okay. Because this could go either way. This is
a judgment-free zone.
Yes. But this meal in school, some love it, some hate it. I'm going to say our Thanksgiving meal every year at school was my favorite. And I don't know if it's the sense of just comfort of that food.
Yep.
That when you just think of it and it brings you like that sense of, okay, you're around people that you want to be surrounded by. And you're, in a good place. But I always looked forward to that. And, it was definitely not like our Thanksgiving meal at home. It's not that type of cooking. But at the same time, I think it was a nice meal to have in school. And I remember our teachers loving it.
Oh my God, that's so great.
And joining us. And so I think that was a meal that I'll look back on and say, yeah, that was a good time.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. A huge thank you to Pam Vecca. And the team at Plum Hill for giving us a window into the incredible work that's happening here. We appreciate you so much. You guys are making such a big impact on our students and our community. So keep up the amazing work here. That's a wrap. I'm talking to you guys now on another episode of the Bobcast. Thanks again, you guys, for watching. Again, you know what your homework assignment is every single episode after it airs. Like, share, and repost and let everybody know. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at R20 Bobcast. If you have any questions, of course, you can always slide into our DMs and ask us. But until next time, Bobcat Nation, keep learning, keep questioning, and stay curious. Bobcat Nation, look at this. Look at this beautiful mural sponsored by the Litchfield Education Foundation that was constructed by the students here at Plum Hill Middle School. So Pam, tell us all about how this came about and how we made it happen.
So a huge part of the middle school is our mental health team, and they are fabulous. We, couldn't be the school that we are without them. And rewind to last summer, and we're planning for programming here. And I was talking with one of our social workers, and I said, this is the first place where 4 communities come together. And is there something that we can do that's symbolic, some way that we can represent 4 communities coming together?
Yep.
And our social worker had said, Mrs. Bolton, she had said, well, there are these murals that she's seen and that she's heard about, and she did a little research on them, and she sent it to me. And through the summer, I said, you know what, I really want to get this mural in place.
Yeah.
Let me write a grant and see if it can be funded. So I wrote a grant for the LEF and didn't hear back right away. So I was so excited because this was going to be something I was looking forward to in the first year. And then the first couple months of school goes by, and I think we heard at the perfect timing.
Yeah.
It was in the fall.
Yep.
They reached out to us. They were happy to fund this entire project. And it felt so good that we were able to bring something here and that we had community support. So what this project is, it obviously represents kindness and our values here of what we want every person in this building to really represent. The project itself, it starts with clay. So we order a ton of clay, and the students are all in a workshop, and they make each of these tiles. So they had little cookie cutters, and they had stencils and pieces of tools from the art room, and they just designed these on their own. They had some stamps, and really every tile here was made by our students, and not one tile that a student made is not here. So everybody did something. You can see that we had to break tiles.
Yeah.
So each piece filled in. So we needed fillers. We needed some to be cut out as the borders here. So we cut them. But everything that a student did, it's here. After the tiles, after the clay was shaped and it was formed, we sent it off into a kiln. And then it came back to us. And they were hardened at that time, and we had to paint them. So our students did 4 coats of paint.
Yep.
And we did specialty paint of teal and navy. And so they painted them that whole week. We sent them back to get fired off again. Another week later or 2 weeks later, they came back, and we set up a whole community project here where we did this wall. Used to be bookcases and storage cases here. So they had to all come down.
Yep.
And did freshly white here. And then we did a paw print. So most of these murals are in basic shapes. And so they customized the paw print for Plumb Hill. So it's very unique. It's custom. We love it. And what we did, we had tons of parents, community volunteers over the course of 2 full working days here, getting the tiles on the wall in the shape. And then the second day was grouting.
Yeah.
I don't do tile work.
I don't do anything.
And I think I can say I know how to grout now. And, so we got all of this up, and it just came out beautiful. So we're proud of it. The students love it. They come here. They look at it every day.
They look for their tiles, probably.
Yeah. And we've gotten a lot of compliments on it. And I just think it adds a piece to our puzzle here. And it truly does represent all 4 towns. There were hands in every town making this possible.
It is, I'm looking at this, like the work on these tiles, you guys, I know Emer's going to probably zoom in and look at them closer, but they're beautiful. This one says laugh. This one says friend, smile, be kind is on a lot of them. Here's one of 2 students walking together. It just feels like they were all unity. So good and thoughtful, and just really, what a beautiful testament to coming together and making this happen. So thank you. Another big shout out to Litchfield Education Foundation. We love you. We appreciate you. And to all of our students and their staff and our community members who made this happen, you have made your mark on the first year and the forever of Plumb Hill Middle School.
Yes.
The forever.
This is our foundation, and this is going to be here. So
this is great.
Just permanently. Yeah.
Spotlight on a school, you guys. Plumb Hill Middle School knocked it out of the park in year 1. We could not be more proud to have Pam. We love you so much.
Oh,
and we're so excited for, what's coming next in our next years at Plumb Hill Middle School.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Thanks, Bobcats.
Bye.